Hey everyone. So you're at Whole Foods somewhere in Washington. This is the moment where I'm making a video on this full moon, which is happening right now. So it's a powerful energy, and it's a lot of Scorpio energy. Pluto is in a new phase with Mars right now. About a week ago, Pluto began going retrograde, and this full moon's in Scorpio. This full moon in Scorpio is also squaring the nodal axis of the moon. What that means is this is actually the midpoint between the last eclipse season and the next eclipse season. So if you imagine how eclipses are kind of like portals for energy to come in and out, this is the middle point between this journey from one to the next. It's a very potent, integrative full moon. So I want to speak a little bit about all the Scorpio energy and what I see is happening right now. Scorpio can manifest in a way where there's a buildup of intensity. Like we're working through something psychologically and we can't quite get to the bottom of it. This may manifest as addictive behavior, compulsions, deep permeating fears, or distrust. We can live our entire life with those energies. Literally, I mean, that's a particular condition where some souls will live an entire life kind of in compulsion, in fear. But these emotional states have the opportunity to really bring us deeper into our own power. This experience within Scorpio is a pressure building from the inside. It's very uncomfortable. It is not comfortable. It doesn't feel good. And the reactive side is I'm obsessed, I'm afraid, and thus I'm going to do something about it, right? It could be a sexual addiction, it could be a money addiction, it could be a drug addiction, it could be a thought addiction. Right? Wherever consciousness orients, where's Scorpio in your chart? Where's Pluto in your chart? What house is this Scorpio full moon happening in? So we can get stuck in that, or this energy is an invitation for us to drop deeply into the muck. What I find is the very things that we become obsessed with, the very areas of life that we have fear about, where there's distrust, those point to the very areas of ourself that we're not connected to, where there's an invitation to reconnect and to in fact give what we feel we lack. Scorpio is Kundalini energy, and it starts at the spine and it moves up. To actually move this energy up is to bring our attention away from the fixation on not having, or away from the fixation of there being a problem, being an issue. The fear thoughts, the lack thoughts, the paranoid thoughts, the I'm not actualizing myself thoughts. And this is a Leo, Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus full moon axis, that the whole fixed grand cross is really being actualized and opened up right now. And there can be a lot of life and death, strong, intense feelings. It's not a light moon cycle at all, by any means. And so to experience those thoughts, those deeper feelings and sensations, and instead to choose not to invest and create a whole story. What happens with human consciousness, most of us don't see this. I'm learning this like every day. We create thought forms relative to the instinctual, purely non-intellectual sensations and emotions that are running through us energetically. We create thought forms that link to them, and that literally holographically builds the world around us. It programs our entire life. The thoughts that we fixate on is literally the life that we experience. But it's just an identity structure. It's just a way of resolving the seeming problem of how we feel. It doesn't actually fix how we feel. It doesn't actually shift or move the energy. And the bigger teaching is how we feel is not to be fixed. The darkness, the fear, the jadedness, the obsession, the compulsion, it's not a problem. It's just this present moment. And our relationship to this present moment, that's the area where there's the most confusion, the most doubt, the most uncertainty of all areas. But it's the only area there is. It's the only place there is, this present moment, what we're feeling right now, what we're carrying energetically. And so what human consciousness will do is it goes right into the mind. It's a planning and conceiving and contriving what it's going to do to fulfill this strong sense of need, or the strong sense of lack, or the strong sense of fear. What is it like to move through life where our choices is not to fulfill and resolve a sense of there being something off? What if how we feel, our emotions, as deep, as intense as they are, was just pointing to the intensity and the extent to which there's power yet untapped? And I offer the invitation for us all to consider, and we can objectively gauge this in our own life if we look in the past, that the power that we claim, once we've claimed it, we realize, oh, I always had it, right? I just was living in this identity structure, a whole paradigm. I see that paradigm isn't needed anymore. But when I'm in that paradigm, there's no way I can see the greater depth of my being. It's simply recognizing when we drop a way of being that is not necessary for us, a whole new dimension of possibility emerges for us. The mind can't understand this ahead of time. It can't predict this, it can't know this. It's my blessing, my invitation and empowerment for us all on this full moon is to reapproach how we move through this journey, is to reach into the muck and connect, own, claim our power. You can't claim your power merely by saying, I'm going to claim my power, any idea of it. Our power is claimed by fully letting this present moment be our gateway. Our power is claimed as we drop the resistance to this present moment. Scorpio teaches us that fundamentally there's two choices in life: cooperate or resist evolution. What that means is evolution is a fact. It's what's happening. It's the primary reality. And we can resist it or cooperate with it. And resistance, when we drop it, when we drop resisting what is now, it doesn't mean I'm going to go up and do something or I'm going to make this choice. It means dropping the resistance. I wish I could say more about what that means. I'm still learning every day that dropping resistance, that cooperating with now, has nothing to do with any kind of fixed path, but it always coincides with a sense of power. There's a reconnecting or regaining a sense of worth and value and confidence and trust in self. And there's certain signs that we're authentic about it, right? Have you ever, expressed your love to someone that you really cared about? Have you ever intervened in someone's life where you saw they were going in a certain direction and you say, I just want you to let you know that I really care about you? Have you ever done something because you knew that if you didn't do it, it wouldn't get done, and you really cared, and there was nothing on the outside telling you to do it? That's an example of choosing to live, choosing to embrace evolution. It's the energy, the inside of us that impels us to move forward. It has to come from within. And the what and the how and the where we are going towards doesn't matter. So I have one more thought. I once watched this beautiful performance where there's this man that was like running from his shadow. And the shadow represented these demonic, dark energies. And fear, compulsion, obsession, everything. And towards the end of the performance, he realized that the shadows move when he moves. So he began dancing with them. And that's just the most beautiful metaphor in teaching about the Scorpio energy. These very places of darkness, of fear, compulsion, addiction, that we so often try to run from, right? Craving and aversion. When we make something an object, it's either something to get or to get away from. That's what happens when it's outside. But when we stop that journey of craving and aversion and we merge with it, we accept it as one with us, then what has otherwise been heavy and dark and scary and difficult becomes lovemaking. That snake, which can be an intense pressure, motivating our most deepest subconscious psychological fears coming from our root. Right? Basic survival fears. Not having, not getting, not belonging, not succeeding. Core, totally non-intellectual places of darkness. You get stuck in that. When that snake rises, those same energies awakens, and it brings life to our whole system. The muck, the compost, fertilizes our entire life. And so that darkness becomes a luscious, sensuous, beautiful, playful vibration. What makes it rise? What brings us out of the stuckness of a dark place? I don't want to give too many answers because it's part of my journey, but it's just this, in following the flow of this teaching, it's not resisting it. And the more we can think about this moment as a primary reality and to feel that this life is a dance. Amma said that life is a dance, and the key is to listen to, this is a paraphrase, to listen to the music and stay with the music, stay with the dance. When we connect with the dance of life, of this moment, even if it's really difficult, if we're embodied, if we're present with it, that's where the psychological self-knowledge and the insights will all come. I always find this to be so. Okay. Much love and so many blessings to us all on this full moon.